Hi guys, what's going on? It's Cool Toys, and what I have here on my table today is a little project I'm going to do, a customization painting of this action figure that I have here in front of me. This action figure is from the toy line called World Peacekeepers. They were normally found in Big Lots stores. It's like an all-for-one, less expensive store for items, for anything from house goods, couches, tables. There's even food, and they have a toy section. So what I want to do with this guy, you can see he is in his like green camo, woodlands camouflage, and I want to make him in a Arctic trooper. So I'm going to paint him like white, gray, and maybe just a little bit of light browns on him, but we'll see how he turns out. Just something to do for the weekend, paint this guy. I may do one or two other videos, some other vehicles that I have in my collection, and maybe talk about some other projects. So stand by while I get my paint ready so we can customize this action figure. All right, I'm back. Sorry if the lighting is not that great, but that's just what I'm working with right now. Here's the figure. I have white right here. I do have a smaller bottle of white right there, but I already opened this one up, and it's just easier just to dip in there. And here is a gray. It's called Elephant Gray. We'll set that right there. I got my paint brushes, two different sizes. One's more pointy, and the other one is like a square flat. And I have a Q-tip just in case I make any little mistakes or areas I want to wipe clean. Here's the figure. I don't have a stand for him. Let me see. You know what? Stand by. All right, thinking on the fly. So what I have underneath this napkin is like a piece of metal, and then I have these magnets with clips. I got them from Harbor Freight, and this guy's feet can bend really flat, so just clip those. Now he's got some big Mickey Mouse shoes, and I'm just gonna stick them to the table, like I said, which is metal. Underneath is metal. And now he's not going to fall over while I'm painting him, so that's a bonus. Let me see if I can get in a little closer. That's zoomed in at number 2, and his camera's like, all right, back. All right, got him in there. Let's put his arms like this for now. Here's the white, opening it up. Ah, this one is brand new still. I thought this one was open because the lid was dirty. So this one I believe is open already, the smaller one. All right, so I guess we're using the smaller paint. Let's dabble. Got to mix it up a little bit. There's some water at the top because this is brand new, or I used it only one time a long time ago. I dipped it in there too far. All right, like I said, I apologize if it's not bright enough. Let me see if I got another light. All right, that's a little bit better. Light. Let's just put some little marks first. I was going to paint them all gray first, and then I can paint over the white, but we'll just see how it works with just making little camo. Camouflage is never like really just in straight lines. It's kind of wavy. It looks like a slop right now, but hopefully it'll look a little bit better in a few minutes once I get some more paint on here. You don't have to be an amazing artist. I surely am not. I'm better at like looking at a picture if it's in front of me and then either drawing it or painting it. When I'm just doing something from like what's in my head, it may not always come out the way I expect it or want it to. Let's do his hat. And with the gray, hopefully it'll be able to just cover up some of the white where I don't want it to be at. And, you know, in the military, most guys, they would have a pair of woodland camos, desert camouflage, and Arctic camouflage, especially if you're doing cold weather training and if you're in a special unit, Navy SEALs, Force Recon, you know, things like that. All right, so that's white. Let's put a little bit gray in there, and we'll see where we go from there. Here's the gray. Let's take off the lid. Got another brush. Got to mix it up a little bit. There's that water at the top of it. Just like paint you get from Home Depot, you know, they got to mix it. They got to put it in a mixer because the oils and things like that, they float to the top. That's the main reason. All right, we got some gray. I know it's kind of big, blotchy, white, but like I said, the gray will cover up any of the white that you don't like, that you don't want in the way of your gray. This is really watery, this gray paint. That's why I have this napkin at the bottom, because it's dripping down. Whoa. That went really bad. Let me see. That's why I got the Q-tip here to suck up some of the runoff. I got to mix this a little bit more, this gray. Are you guys working on any projects, any customizations? I really, for a long, long time, did not want to customize any of my action figures or toys, vehicles, because, you know, my mind, what if I ever wanted to resell them or trade them, and someone may not want customized action figures, but something like this generic action figure, he came with a vehicle for like $14.99. You know, the action figure, I think it was like two action figures and say a Jeep. It was like that World War II Jeep from World Peacekeepers. I don't feel bad at all about painting this guy, because realistically this guy is probably like $1 figure or 50 cents. GI Joe figures, especially, you know, from the 1980s and on up, I really don't want to customize them unless I find one at a yard sale really, really cheap, and it's in bad shape. Like in my last video, I showed you Quick Kick. His feet were really messed up. I don't have him right now. He's still in my other room. I may paint him later on, but yeah, his feet, I want to bring his feet back to life because the black underneath the paint was showing. So I don't mind painting him. And if I ever did sell him, I would mention it that in the description that I did paint his feet back to the color they should be. You know, basically I customized it. I don't like it if people are selling action figures and they don't mention in the description that they customized the figure by, you know, touching up the paint or any kind of customizations. You know, even removing the screws in the figure. I want to know if that was done, if they aren't the original screws. You know, definitely like the O-ring. I can understand, you know, that they say, hey, you know, there's a new O-ring. Yeah, you had to do that because the O-ring probably fell apart and it needed to be replaced. Otherwise, he would be in pieces. And then in the screw, if you want to put new screws, just mention it, and it would be cool if the seller would just give me the original screws and leave it up to me if I wanted to remove the rust and install the original screws that belong to that figure. You know, there's nothing wrong with putting replacement screws in there, but I do want the original screws to keep the figure authentic. I think I'm going to add a little more white in some areas. Whoop. Yeah, I've been kind of busy this summer. A lot of things going on. Um, if you own a home, you want to maintain it yourself. I cut my own grass, so usually every other weekend, almost every weekend, you got to spend one day cutting the grass and cleaning your vehicles and just doing, chores basically. If you work 5 days a week, then you come home. Some days you're exhausted. So I just wait for the weekends, and then the weekends I do chores around the house and maintenance around the house. Like I said, cutting grass and washing the cars and things like that. And I do my own oil changes on my vehicles. Um, I just am that type of person. I like to do things myself so I know it's done right. I've heard stories, people bring their vehicles to, like, say, Jiffy Lube, and then they drain the oil and they forget to put new oil back in the vehicle, things like that. And then you ruin your engine. Mistakes are made, but I don't need that mistake being made to one of my vehicles. I depend on my vehicle to get me to work in the morning. So, at least with wintertime, fall coming, I have more time to be in the house because the grass stops growing, and I don't really wash the car in the winter unless it's a really bad snow and they put salt on the ground. So that's the only time I'll be washing my vehicle in the winter time. So I have more time to hang out in the house and you know do some projects and things like that. Let me add a little more white up here. I think I'm going to turn this guy around and we'll do his back. I know it looks like a mess on camera, especially with the light. Let me turn off this light. Let me see. There we go. So you can see the gray now, the gray and the white. Still some green on his hat. Hopefully it'll look better once I get some of the shading done. But I'm just trying to let this front area dry. And like I said, we're going to do the back now. So stand by. Let me turn this around. All right, got the action figure turned around. Let's put on the light again. I know I can't get his feet in the camera view because my tripod doesn't go lower than this for some reason right now. It's like struggling to go lower, but whatever. We'll paint it the way it is now on the camera. I haven't been to a toy show uh, ever. Tell you the truth, I have never been to an actual toy show. Where I live, it's very rare that there's a toy show within distance of where I live. If I did want to go to a toy show, sometimes I have to go to a different. I would have to go to a different state because I never really see them posting that there would be one. I saw one. There was one post. It was like a comic book slash toy show, and it was in like one of the like a fire station has one of those buildings, their rec room or something that they rent out, and I think some guy uh, tried to do his own toy show. But by the time I heard about it, it was the day after the weekend. So like on a Monday, I heard it was the past weekend, and I was like, "Dang, man, I could have went to that show." And then I never heard that guy had another toy show. So I don't know what went wrong, or if he just decided not to do it anymore. But otherwise, I would probably have to travel at least like 2 hours to go to a toy show. And on weekends, like I said, I got stuff going on. I can't be 2 hours somewhere and 2 hours back. That's 4 hours of my day wasted. And then, when you're at the toy show, if I'm going to go to a toy show, I'm going to be there for at least 4 hours minimum. So that would be, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as an 8 hour day of traveling. I know, some people that's no big deal, but for me, almost one complete day uh, out from other things that I need to do, family time and projects around the house. I'd rather be at home and go to a toy show that's like within like a half an hour distance from my house. I was even considering um, starting my own toy show. Like I said, going contacting one of those fire departments and seeing if I can rent out their hall. You know, it's volunteer fire departments. They usually have a hall you can rent out, and there's one that's about 15-20 minutes away from my house, so I may inquire about how much it costs to rent the hall. But then you know, you would have to put out an announcement on either Facebook and other media outlines that hey, I'm starting a toy show and it's new. Some people may not want to sign up because they never heard of your toy show before, but you know, it takes word of mouth, and it may take you know, couple years of having your toy show for the word to get out that it's a good one, and people can find good deals. And the thing is, you know, you got to get in touch with people that are willing to sell their items, you know, that locally, that have toys and comics and things like that, that want to sell their collections. So that's something, you know, I was thinking about maybe in the future, and not right now, but it's always something to look forward to. That would be cool to have my own toy show. Would you guys come? I would make it very inexpensive to set up your own booth, especially, you know, it's starting out the first couple years, just to get the word out, get some people in the door. And I would like to have the toy show to have more vintage toys than modern. You know, modern toys, that's for eBay and things like that. If I have a toy show, I want there to be vintage. And, you know, it would be required that you have at least like 80% of the toys you're selling to be vintage. I think that would be a better toy show and draw out more collectors for toys that know that there's going to be vintage toys there, because if it's modern toys, they can just go to Walmart and Target to buy that. Let's turn off this light, take a look at this guy again. Yeah, it's all right, you know, gray and black. This gray is really watery. I mean, I probably should have poured it out into something and mixed it up better, but whatever, it's fine. Let me add a little more white here. Weekends go way too fast. You know, I'm a person that I have like different hobbies. I like playing video games. I collect action figures, obviously. I like working on my vehicles myself, like I stated earlier. Hanging out in the house, watching TV. There's the new Alien Earth series. It's okay. I mean, there's parts of it that I really am disappointed with, but hey, it's an Aliens TV show, and I'd rather have something than nothing, you know what I mean? It's just a shame that it seems like the writers nowadays, they have no idea how to write good entertainment, you know, something that is like thrilling, sci-fi, using their imagination. It just seems like a lot of stuff is political with all this other nonsense, but I don't want to get into that. All right, let me turn this action figure around. Okay, I just want to touch up his hat a little bit here, his cover. Get rid of some of this green. You know, it doesn't look that great right now while the paint is still wet, but you know, after a day or two, when this really dries, I may come back and touch up some of the areas. But you know, I just want to show you that this is what you can do with a little customization, getting out a paintbrush. These paints, like I said in my other video, I got them from Walmart, really cheap. I think like maybe $1 each or a little bit more. Paintbrushes, you can buy a pack of them at your art supply store for like $5 or less. And just have a little fun, you know, try something new. If you've never painted before, just give it a shot. Like I said, I'm not an amazing artist, but I'm not afraid to try to paint, you know, at least to try. And with practice, things get better. And, you know, you never know. You may be an amazing artist and you didn't even know it. So this is the end of my video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Just hanging out and talking. Like I said, may do another video right after this one about some vehicles in my collection. So I want you to check it out. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. This was Cool Toys. Please comment, like, subscribe. Later.